Alright. What's up, Tyson? So you're actually the only person that sent me this stuff so far. You should be proud of yourself. I'm gonna roast you a little bit, but I think you can handle it. You're a big boy. You've been with me for a bit too long now. So let's just hop into it, right? First of all, let me get this not epic games, epic pen. Do you like my non-copyright music? Alright, get started. So it's 20 seconds in. You guys can't see what they have yet. It's around the 12-second mark that you guys can fully see what they have. You're gonna assume that they're gonna be copying you. You already know your role in this, so I'm just gonna be working on your overall mistakes. You, as a Reaper, are supposed to get into their back line the best way possible without dying, but also a way to apply pressure and without them even noticing. All right, you know that already. Good, we're good, let's go. So I can't slow it down from what I know. I want to lower this. This one copyright music is pretty decent. So first of all, this is your first mistake. How far back does this take me? All the way. Nice. So you don't have to necessarily sit with your team right here. I know you don't know their comp, but with this map they're not gonna have a Widow. They might have a Pharah, but they're not gonna have a Widow. They maybe have a Hanzo, but the Hanzo's not gonna insta headshot you. For this, it's completely fine for you to start flanking around this corner. Honestly, the only exception would be if you guys already knew their comp and you were protecting your team. What you're not. You don't know their comp and you're just wasting time right here. So the second issue I saw, I can't go off of comms because I don't have them, which is fine. You wait for the punch to go off. You're not back there yet. So you ready? He just finished off his punch. It took you a full second to get back there, which in Overwatch time is actually a lot. I feel like this music is a bit too loud. So it took you a full second to end up teleporting, which also has a cast time. So it will take you 2 seconds to get to the back line. Right there. Technically 3. Okay, you have yellow, so yellow isn't gonna work. As you can see, both Doomfists are already dead. Now that's not an issue if you provide enough pressure into the back line, but if you showed up a bit sooner, you could be applying pressure with the Doomfist. It's not necessarily if the combo lands you go in, it's as the combo is going off, you're teleporting. So it is a flowchart, but you have to think about it in terms of Overwatch, right? So have common sense. We already know the flowchart, right? You set up, there's the halt. I don't want to write all this, it's gonna look like shit. whatever. There's the Holt. There's the punch. Reapers go into the back line. Technically, there's supposed to be a counter from one or the other Doomfist that's also in this, and then you back up. So it definitely is a flowchart. You definitely go in order 1, 2, 3, 4, and then reset. But at the same expense, it's a bit different than that. That's how it would look on paper. If you're looking at it in an Overwatch perspective, it's Halt. At the same time, Doomfist is charging up a punch. So that's both step 1, right? The Halt goes off. That's already in step 2 now. Now this is when you're going in. You see? So your step 1 is on as the Halt is going off. Alright? Now step 3 is the punch. That's where Doomfist comes in. You see? So it's a flowchart. But in the perspective of Overwatch, it's a little bit different. I hope this makes sense. It might help out more games in the near future. So yeah, then there's also, along with this, at some point along right here, like right in this mark, is where Doomfist would try to punish the other one. Right, so this is then where the combination ends. You DPS a little bit, and then the 4th is escape for this specific example, and reset. All right, hopefully that helps a little bit more. But regardless, you're back here in a pretty good position. Moira's half health. Nobody's turned around yet. I mean, you just got back there, but they didn't even notice you, so that's nice. She fades out. You're backing up. So this is why all my VOD reviews take too long. I'm seeing every single mistake you're making and hoping that you grasp them all. So you're expecting them to back up, which isn't the smartest move, considering you have Wraith for that reason in particular. You can't get hit with a rock because you just used it on Doomfist. The only thing that could happen is McCree stunning you, which at this time you should have already noticed that McCree wasn't with his team. Doomfist is dead, you can't get one shot. Orisa has nothing to stop you. She could use her Holt, but that's a waste of a cooldown. The worst thing that could happen is Lucio boops you away. So this is a bit of a misplay from your perspective. You shouldn't be backing up, you should be pushing in. It's an even trade. Moira was half health, the Orisa is half health, and she can't get healed because Lucio is in speed form while they're running away. So it's 20 seconds in. Because you back up, it takes you a full 3 seconds to start pushing yourself back into the enemy. Moira is now healing herself. Lucio's in heal form now. So everybody's going to be healed up by the time you start doing damage. And now they're ready to collapse on you. This is completely fine. You should still be applying pressure. You can push in here so long as your team is calling out where the McCree is, and keep applying pressure. Although you can only see the Sigma at the time, both Doomfists are still dead. You still have no chance of getting one shot. Sigma's Cretion, I believe, is on cooldown, the rock he throws. And you are at the worst risk of getting poked out, which you still have Wraith form for. And then if you're poking here, you have these 2 chances of escaping, where you walk backwards or you walk this way with your team, right? So if you're applying pressure, your team will have all of this to themselves, so you have an escape. See what you do. You poke for a second and then you immediately back off, and you use Wraith form. That's a bit of a misplay as well. You don't know where Doomfist is, so I wouldn't teleport anywhere. I would stop playing behind your shield for the time being, though. Either you hard push on this McCree that's out of position, or you take an aggressive approach over by coast and start firing behind their shield, because if they're focused on you, then your team can push in and the McCree is basically useless, right? Because your team is pushed in, killing the enemy team. Or you focus the McCree, which has a one-shot capability, but both Doomfists are now coming back, so you should be in a 2v1 situation, technically 2v2 because of the Lucio. So you just fire at McCree a little bit, and now you're a bit lost. It's alright, you're not really hitting anything right now. You need to get a bit closer in range. You have all your cooldowns. At some point, you should be trying to do something. You're still missing everything. I don't know if it's your lack of play on Reaper, nerves from the first game of Tespa, or your sensitivity, but you just missed most of your shots, if not all. Your team's dead. You really have no way of escape unless you Wraith form out. This is a perfect time to start building ult charge, honestly. Just run into them. Yeah. You realize that for the most part. Yeah. You probably could have gotten a bit more, but that's not important. Okay. Why does it do that? If I hit this, yep, thought so. I wish there was a way to actually fast forward and rewind. Where the fuck is, here it is. Okay. Yeah, you're not getting really anything out of firing into that shield. You aren't really even doing damage here back here for some reason. Your positioning is a bit off. You don't entirely know what to do. Okay. So your team pushes up. That was a waste of a Orisa barrier, but that's not important right now. Okay, so you got two options. Your team's gonna push up. Technically three options. This is the worst option though if you were to enter here and flank them. Your best option is, since your team isn't playing the flowchart correctly, the window up here, teleport into that, start firing down at them, make them notice you. That's the only time I would say it's perfectly fine to do a Reaper gate situation. Your second option is to hard push with your team and expect the combo to get off and for you to do the combo properly. That's more of a how you feel situation. So again, you're a bit late. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure if it's miscommunication or the lack of knowledge you have for this comp. So your Doomfist goes in, he punches, and as soon as he misses whoever he was focused on, he immediately runs. He doesn't get into any kind of danger. Their Doomfist meteor striked, so he doesn't have the concept of getting countered. He can't get countered unless the McCree actually stuns him, which for most of this game this McCree has been on the sidelines, so it shouldn't be that scary. Regardless, he's out, but as he leaves you go in, so that's the miscommunication here. Besides the Doomfist strange performance, there's conflict of interest now, right? Your Moira is ulting, so you guys want to play aggressive with it. You're not in the flowchart state. You can't really help each other out because you're so slow to the reactions of one another. In certain situations, you should be focused on sound cues as opposed to visual cues. Whether that helps with your ADHD or ADD, I'm not entirely sure. Everybody's different in that situation, but from what I've known from coaching people with similar issues, paying more attention to the sound cues of the game while also focusing on visual cues helps them get into the more practical aspects of the game, because now you're focused on two things as opposed to hard focusing on one. And then at some point everything becomes so second nature to you where it's not a focus thing and it doesn't really affect your ADD/ADHD. Regardless, back to the game, I don't know if that'll help you or not. Let's get these out of the way. So you're back here. Let's see what okay. You force shift out of Moira, and now you're fighting Lucio. You're missing everything, and then you die. Your death isn't really that bad because your team gets wiped, but you're not staying at an optimal range to actually land all your pellets, so you're not getting the max amount of healing back as you would, and you're dying pretty early because of it. Let's move forward again. I swear to God, this thing. Okay. I guess fast forwarding isn't going to be a thing. So you could have either contested the McCree or TP'd into the backline. You don't entirely know where the backline is. Really, right now the McCree isn't your issue necessarily. The Sigma should be the one to focus the McCree. Just due to the fact that he can put his barrier down and not have to worry about it. So this is a fine option for you. Okay, you're 90 HP and you get punched all the way back. Get back to the team, you get healed. That was a weird option, that you chose to go the left way instead of the way your team was pushing. Yeah, he was a bit further than you could actually out heal, so it's not that big of an issue, but you should have realized that this was going to be the last fight you guys had, and you died with Death Blossom. Okay, moving forward. Alright, perfect. Few options for you to play this comp, right? One, you could switch and get a new comp. Two, you could sit directly in between your tanks and your supports, so when the Winston jumps in, you could damage him to shit and destroy his health bar. That's the second option. The third option is, at the right time, once Anna's wasted her nade and her sleep, which is bound to happen, you immediately teleport into the back line and contest her. Or fourth option is you continue to follow the flowchart, which hasn't been working. I'm not saying don't follow the flowchart. I'm saying there's times where your sense has to come. Yeah, it has to show more than just, you know, what's on paper. So this actually is a pretty good pick. I think it was the Winston's misplay, but it was good. It's weird to see you contesting the Tracer, but I don't know why you shifted. Here you go. I think that the Winston's just throwing. Your accuracy was not the best there, but you're playing the option of sitting in between your tanks, which is what you were doing last round, but since this round they're playing dive, it's actually working. So your playstyle isn't, you know, isn't bad, it's just wrong for the time. It's Overwatch, you can't have the same direct playstyle every time. This is nice, playing aggressive. Yeah, you missed a couple shots. You didn't get full pellets. So this is something I actually disagreed with you on. I swear to God. So right here. Further back. You have the Lucio down to 3rd health. He's getting healed by Ana, but he's not running this way back to his team. He's actually running this way, which has no escape unless he goes through this room, which your team could then pick off, right? So you're not playing out of position if you chase this, you're securing it. Instead you back up completely while you're at full health, and he runs, grabs the health pack, and thankfully your Moira isn't stupid and he was looking for a boop right here. But I actually would have teleported up there to the contestant, but that's just a choice thing. It's fine, you didn't see her. Yeah, that's not a bad option. That's just unlucky. Team probably gets right, you're right. You get killed again? Wait a minute. Wait, when did you use your ult? Hold on. This is important to the fight. Okay. Both Lucio's ulted. Your Sigma ulted. What's everything looking like right now? Yeah, I don't know if you need more practice. Maybe you're not used to the setup in the esports room now that you have a computer at home or in your dorm, but you're missing a lot of shots. Whether that means you go into more training, like more free-for-all aim training, or you figure out what's your best sensitivity, which I can help you out with if that's what you need. You're missing a lot. Like, your accuracy is subpar. Okay. That wasn't a bad ult. Yeah. You contributed to the fight. It really wasn't that bad. Yeah, you just lost yourself there. You're still good, so no big deal. But you really didn't know where you were. I'm not entirely sure what I could add for you. Right now, you could just watch your team completely breaking down. That was wasted. Nice work walking in and out of the shield. Yamura is pocketing you as much as possible. Nice kills. Yeah, there's not much I can say about you besides your accuracy and like for the end of this round. Right now your team is basically just breaking down. That's not bad. Yeah, if you had better accuracy that would have been a insta kill. Wait. Said she had Wraith, man. If you Wraith, it probably would have landed on Ian, but he could have lived it. He still has this, and you're 84 with the Lucio running face first into you. You probably could have won that. Hindsight's 2020. I say that a lot, but I'm pretty sure it's winnable. Because there's no way you wouldn't have gotten ult. If you shot the Lucio 3-ish times, you would have had ult for this fight, and you probably would have won. So it's hard to do, but if you teleport at the right time, you can actually avoid the Sigma smash damage. It's extremely difficult to do, but it's doable if you learn it. Besides taking a shit ton of damage, I appreciate that you played a bit away from your team. You needed the aggressiveness if you guys were gonna win that. Didn't work. There's a bunch of people got, well, one person got picked off beforehand and it just led to demoralizing, but I appreciate you tried that one. Alright, I really don't want to look at King's Row, honestly. I just did a group VOD review a bit earlier. I don't want that for this game in particular, and I was not happy with what I watched, so I don't really want to watch it, but no big deal. Okay, so when I watched this, I also questioned why you were here. It's early ult charge, but I don't know where you learned this from. It's like asking to die, honestly. Especially since you missed that last shot and then you chased the kill. So now you're in such a bad position to... Yeah. Okay. Oh my god, this stupid thing. I really can't say much about this. Just got rolled. You missed your shot there. It feels like your sensitivity is off, and so you're a bit slower to react to things. You should have been dead there. You just slid off that wall. Yeah, your sensitivity is so high there. I'm sure that's how you play, but it just feels like you lose yourself. I don't know if I would have went on that chase. You leave your team behind while your Doomfist is coming back from being dead, so that leaves no DPS, and with their aggressive comp it kind of fucks over your team, and then you get slept, which their team is going to collapse on now. Yep. I'm not entirely sure why you guys switched to Mei. You don't even try to contest the high ground. You're not putting walls up to get yourself up there. Nice job on Zarya. Their DPS was in your back line for a while though. They're going uncontested. It's not bad. They're still behind you guys. So actually, if you're a decent Mei, Pharah that close range is not that big of an issue for you. So Mei has a projectile of a right click, but it's about the average speed of a Honest Sleep, which isn't impossible to hit when you have consistent amount of them and you're able to just chuck them out. So the Honest Sleep is on an extremely long cooldown, so it puts more pressure on them to hit that. There's also only one, so the accuracy needs to be spot on, as opposed to Mei's right click, which has the same projectile speed. You have a lot more, and the reload is definitely not as long as probably not even as long as the cast time on a sleep dart. So you could just chuck those things out. At some point you should be hitting that far at that close of a range. Regardless, you guys get rolled. And then you're unsure what to do. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how much I want to watch this. I still really feel like your sensitivity is way too high. You're losing yourself in it. And that focus isn't bad. Honestly, so that's a good TP actually. Doesn't die. That was actually a good TP. That one wasn't on you. If the team collapsed faster like they should have, then they're dead. But because it took so long, the other team ran before you can make anything useful happen. This is where you start to get lost. Your team isn't doing the combo anymore. They haven't been for the past game. So honestly, I can't even teach you how to play Reaper because of that. I can damn well tell you the importance of it. I can teach you the flowchart like I did, and when you should be entering if you guys are following the flowchart. But in this situation, when you're just firing at them, I can't really even teach you how to play Reaper because you don't counter any of these people. The reason, I don't know if you know how meta works, right? So let's take for example the current meta, which is what you guys are running. That current meta has been derived from countless hours of hardcore scrimming between the best teams in the world in order to figure out what has the best win rate and the highest priority picks. So before that was Road Orisa. Then before that, well, after that came Diva Orisa, because the Diva had the capability of eating the Mei, which Mei was an extreme part of that, because Mei countered the Roadhog because the Mei could wall off the Roadhog's hook while it was happening. So that's the progression, right? And then we eventually progressed into Doomfist being able to punch through the Orisa shield while everybody was clumped up into a group. Then Sigma comes out, double barrier. Doomfist stays relevant because he can punch through both barriers. And then there becomes this progression. Sigma is countered by Mei because she can freeze him and he can't stop it, but Sigma also counters Mei in the fact that he can easily eat her ultimate in a higher level game, right? So that's the progression. So you don't play Mei because the main reason you use her is for her ult, and that gets eaten with ease. Then you move on to Symmetra. Symmetra has the fact that she can charge up her left click through the barriers and then destroy people, right? But then a good team backs up before she can actually destroy people with her left click, because they realize that she's destroying the barriers. Okay, so then you find out Reaper. Reaper is the least relevant pick out of this entire composition. Reaper is only there because as the team plays the flowchart correctly, the Reaper is able to put more pressure into the backline, which forces the backline to move forward, which forces Doomfist, well, which allows Doomfist to create pressure in the front. And as the backline moves forward and the front line moves back, you have this change of power, right? So now, since you're teleporting and the front line is contesting you in their backline, they have to back up in order to out DPS you, right? Which allows Doomfist to try and get a pick on one of the supports that is now technically out of position. Because of all this chaos, whoever has the better DPS and the better optional target selection wins that. That's how this works, right? So out of all of that, what I'm saying is Reaper is the most irrelevant part of this team composition. You could trade him out for, statistically, anybody that has decent overall. I don't want to use stats again because I just used it, but you understand what I'm trying to say. Anybody who has decent overall stats right now in solo queue ladders, in competitive ladders. So McCree can be used, Hanzo is questionable, Pharah is really good because she can also disrupt. Anybody that has a chance of disrupting while inequivalently being able to ruin a barrier, so Bastion, If your team isn't doing the combo, the Reaper will remain irrelevant unless you're playing something to counter them. If they're playing dive, the Reaper is good. If they're playing Ryan Zarya and face rushing you guys with Lucio, while the 2 DPS somehow pick off people one by one, and they're, you know, playing in that sense, the Reaper is going to be useless. So I can sit here right now in this current composition and I can go on and on about the things you're doing incorrectly, but the problem is right now you can't do anything. I'm not saying that's for all games. Take this with a grain of salt. Because your team isn't doing the combination correctly, the flow chart, you cannot do anything. Because they're not creating pressure, you're not able to teleport. And because you can't teleport, you're getting run on, and you're not going to be able to out damage Zarya bubble when Reinhardt's charging at you guys full speed with the Lucio and an Ana to back him up at any point given, while Hanzo picks off the backline and McCree somehow flanks you. I'm just saying swap off. That's all I'm saying. Alright, so I can sit here. I can go through all this. So this is when common sense comes into play, right? The only reason that this composition is good is because of the things that I just said. If you're not doing those things, the composition is not good. If they're not playing something that you can counter with the Reaper, then the Reaper isn't good. You're also missing really important shots, but regardless, I could sit here and I can go on about all of this. Maybe I'll see how you wasted your ult. When did you use it? I had it for this fight. How'd you use it? Oh, you should have known she had sleep. It's okay. I know that the pressure was on for this fight, but you should have definitely known she had sleep. There was no reason she would have used it. Do you ever change, or do you end this? Just end with this. I don't think that your team does the combo after all this, so I'm not going to watch it till the end. I just want to see how you use this last ult. If you guys ever do. 30 seconds remaining. Yeah, you're not going to do any damage. Lucio just ulted. Good kill though. If you get one of these... You had 2 half to low health people surrounding you. That would have been an easy kill. Sorry. Just take that into perspective. There's times where you do need to switch off. Just realize that nobody's there to babysit you anymore. It's not last season where you have people to tell you when to swap off. It's you need to realize you're not doing anything and swap off. Okay. Hopefully that helped a little bit. I don't think I roasted you that hard with this. Just look out for Thursday when we go over my group VOD, because I did roast a couple people there.